Hey, what's up everyone? Airball here, and today we are taking on the best of 3 arena ladder with some Esper midrange. This is one of the new innovations since Kamigawa has been released, and it's one of the more popular midrange strategies that has been taking over the ladder the last few times I've played. And so the idea here is that All Runes Epiphany is now banned, and the top end of blue decks is not nearly as good as it used to be. There's no threat of opponents chaining off many turns in a row and just never letting you untap, and so there's room to cast your value spells and actually take over the board. Like, your board presence matters in this new meta, and Esper Midrange attempts to take advantage of that and play to the board in a way that deals with both aggro and control. So, the anti-aggro plan is pretty standard. We have basically the same core as the white-black mid-range decks that are all over the format. We have our roadblock creatures in the form of Eye Twitch and Shambling Ghast that give us value when they die. We have the main removal spells from black-white as well. Rite of Oblivion, Vanishing Verse deal with a lot of targets. We have Deadly Disputes to sacrifice our creatures and get value when they die. And we have token generators in the form of Wedding Announcement and Lolth, the Spider Queen, which can be very difficult for creature decks to punch through. So that core of the deck can be pretty oppressive to creature decks as well. However, the idea here is that the black-white mid-range decks often struggle against the blue control decks that go way over the top. So is there a way that we can take that good black-white core that deals with aggro and tweak it a little bit so it's not bad against control, or not as bad against control? And this deck tries to accomplish that with in a few ways. The first is just the density of planeswalkers. So obviously we have 1 copy of Lolth, we have 2 copies of Wandering Emperor, 2 copies of Sorin, and 3 copies of Kaito. Given the prominence of the card Farewell, and the prominence of the card March of the White March, whatever that's called, I forget. Planeswalkers are a pretty big blind spot to some control decks in the meta right now. So if you can land Kaito and get a creature in play, then you can draw a card every turn off of it, and that can be a nightmare for control decks to deal with. In the same way, Sorin draws cards every turn. Your opponent might not be able to deal with it. You can outvalue them that way. Lolth is also just a pain in the ass. You can draw cards every turn with it, or you can create a board presence to attack your opponent down. And Wandering Emperor as well not only creates tokens, but is also a flash threat. So against control, being able to flash in a Planeswalker end of turn and create a creature that's also a threat forces them more or less to counter it, otherwise you get some value off of it. And once they counter it, then you can untap and cast whatever you please, because generally they won't have the mana to deal with your Wandering Emperor on their end step, plus your proactive threat for the following turn. So you can think of it as a little bit of a collected company that way. So obviously, eventually, control decks will be able to deal with your Planeswalker threats, and so you still probably don't win the long game, and so you have to try to get them dead, and that's what this deck is pretty good at doing. So we have Wedding Announcement, which isn't just a token generator, but once it flips, it also draws cards incidentally, but once it flips, it pumps all your creatures for 1. And that means that all of our 1/1 for 1s that we put into play all of a sudden become 2/2 for 1s that attack. And that's pretty sweet. Especially when we get value for our creatures dying. Being able to attack with big creatures is kind of a win-win for us. If your stuff dies, then you're happy, you get stuff. If your stuff doesn't die, then their stuff probably is dying, and you're just punching your way through their board. We also have 4 copies of Luminarch Aspirant to make sure that we can outgrow opposing creature threats. And this is kind of a must-answer threat on turn 2 or 3, because the opponent, if they don't deal with it, then you can just create a board presence without actually committing more cards to the board. So the sweepers aren't as good against you if you force them to use them early. You can hold your creatures back, they use their sweeper, and then you can redeploy the threats that you've been sandbagging for the rest of the game. And obviously one of the main reasons that you get to splash blue instead of splashing some other color is that you get 3 copies of Disdainful Stroke, great in the meta right now, counters Goldspan Dragon, counters Hinata, counters big blue spells, counters Planeswalkers. I don't think you're ever too unhappy to draw Disdainful Stroke, or Negate, which is a 1-of in the deck as well, to deal with your opponent's instance and sorcery spells that Disdainful Stroke doesn't hit. So yeah, we also have 4 copies of Hive of the Eye Tyrant in the main deck as well. Faceless Haven being banned means that the other man lands are much more important, but luckily this is a good one. And it's also, even if we had Faceless Haven, we'd be playing this one because it plays well on the 3-colored mana base as well. Being able to exile your opponent's graveyard, surprisingly relevant when Memory Deluge is back. So that is the deck in terms of the 60 cards. In the sideboard, we've got pretty much what you'd expect. It's mostly the core that you'd expect from the black-white control decks. You have Archon of Emeria, which can be pretty good against things like runes. It can be pretty good against aggro decks that try to dump their hands to the battlefield very quickly. Mascot Exhibition obviously is one of the main win conditions of the deck. We also, as a mid-range deck, do have the option to pivot into a control deck, so we have a few copies of, we have one copy of Doomscar as well, if we decide that we need to play Esper Control instead, do our best impression of that. And against the control decks, we have 2 copies of Go Blank and 1 copy of Confront the Past, and an extra copy of Negate and Teachings to keep the cards rolling against them. Against the control decks, it's all about card advantage, keeping them off balance just long enough for you to kill them. So, pretty fun-looking deck. Not the kind of deck that I'm used to playing. I don't promise to play it super well, but I am interested to see how it does. So let's hop into some games. Alright, on the play with double Deadly Dispute and not much else going on, we're going to send this one back. This is significantly better. We have the Shambling Ghast on 1. Given that I don't know that the Stroke is great in the matchup, maybe we're supposed to put that back, given that we have a proactive plan in Shambling Ghast, Wedding Announcement, Wandering Emperor. The Stroke probably won't play for a little while. We have more. Okay. Yeah, and we'll just play the Ghast on 1. Branchloft Pathway. Immune with Spirits. Okay, so we're up against, like, Naya Runes here. I don't know what to make of this matchup. I think it's probably fine. Wandering Emperor is a pretty good card against them. But we're not really... We're not really chock full of removal right now. And that Jukai Naturalist, once it hits the battlefield, can be an extreme problem for us. Kami of Transience. So we can Rite of Oblivion this after blocking with the Shambling Ghast, which I think is where we want to be. If they play the Naturalist next turn, then they could have a bit of a turn here. This thing can get quite large. But we have 2 ways to exile it, so I'm not really concerned about that. I just want to get the Wedding Announcement ticking. General Visitor's a good one. It looks like they are missing white mana. And perhaps can't play the Naturalist this turn, which would be nice. Nope, they have it. But that can't cast it, though. They don't have green-white this turn. The Cragcrown Pathway does not cast it this turn. Rune of Speed on the Kami, that's fine. And do we just want to take 5 here, or do we want to throw the Shambling Ghast under the bus? I think we do want to throw the Shambling Ghast under the bus. And kill the Generous Visitor before it has the chance to grow out of range. Vanishing Verse also quite good. I kind of like it. So we can Rite of Oblivion away the Kami and hold up Vanishing Verse for the Naturalist, which seems pretty good. Or we can just main phase Wandering Emperor. And minus on the Kami. That's not bad either. They do threaten Showdown of the Scalds next turn. They play the Naturalist. They probably won't. They'll be able to cast a couple ruins. But then we'll be able to Vanishing Verse the Naturalist. They probably can't do too much damage to us. I think I'm going to play the Wandering Emperor and not attack with the 1/1. Because I would really like her to live. And I don't want them to get some hasty threat into attack her. Like if I can use these 1/1s to protect the Wandering Emperor, I think that's more beneficial to us than getting 1 damage in this turn. Another Kami. And the Naturalist, sure. So Stroke is nice. Plays around the plays around Showdown of the Scalds if we hold it open. So what to do? We can just Rite of Oblivion Vanishing Verse. If we do that, then we don't get to hold up Stroke. Um, the Kami... Wedding Announcement's gonna flip. We should have, like, reasonably profitable blocks. Let's just cast Rite of Oblivion. Yeah, I don't love it, but the Naturalist must die, and it can't be hit with Vanishing Verse. So let's do this, and I'm going to pitch one of these 1/1s. We're going to get another off the Wedding Announcement, because we're not going to attack. And we'll have Vanishing Verse available. We should have enough crap to throw in the way to keep the Emperor alive, so I don't want to blink on the Vanishing Verse yet. If I can hold up the Disdainful Stroke and nab their Showdown of the Skalds, then I think we should be okay. There it is. So now they can attack, but this is if one went from the battlefield this turn, right? Right. Okay. Cool. So that's not awful. I think I like... Vanishing Verse is going... We're going to be able to hold that up. No matter what. So, let's... Let's just get the 4/4 First Striker in. We'll have a 2/2 Eye Twitch to throw in the way, as well as a Vanishing Verse. If they have second Showdown of the Skald, which unfortunately does make a lot of sense the way the game has been played, then we can't do anything about that. But hopefully, whatever they try to build up off of the Showdown, we can Vanishing Verse. Runeforge Champion, pretty good, pretty good. Still think we're going to be Vanishing Versing the Kami here with the intention of Rite of Oblivion sacrificing the champion? Or sacrificing the Eye Twitch to kill the champion? That's interesting. So they put the rune on the champion. That makes some sense. Sure. I still think we need to Vanishing Verse the Kami, otherwise that's going to be a recurring problem for us. We're of speed. Okay. So do we now want to exile the Runeforge Champion with the Vanishing Verse and Rite of Oblivion the Kami next turn? The advantage of that is that they don't get to draw a card off the Rune of Speed coming into play. We do have just enough stuff to throw in front of the Kami to protect the Wandering Emperor this turn. Although then we won't have anything to throw away to the Rite of Oblivion that we want to recast. We would have to throw away our token. I still think I want to dodge... I think I want to fade them drawing something off of this rune. Keep them low on cards.
Back off.
Okay. And what do we want? If we take Environmental Sciences, then we can't cast the Rite of Oblivion next turn. That's true of anything. Necrotic Fumes also deals with the Kami in much the same way. You could also take Teachings. Teachings is almost certain to draw a card. This is tricky. You can also even take, like, Confront the Past to be able to bring back the Wanderer again. Yeah, I think I want probably the removal spell. Yeah, we hit our land drops anyway, that's great. And what do we sacrifice here? We're definitely killing the Kami. Are we sacrificing the Wedding Festivity or are we sacrificing the 4/4? If we're not super wide, then the Wedding Festivity isn't really doing all that much anyway. I think I'd rather keep the 4/4 around. Sure.
I have got new moves to teach you.
I should have attacked first, obviously. I missed a point of damage here by getting rid of the Anthem first. Not a great play. If they find Showdown of the Scalds, then we're in serious trouble. Rune of Might on one of their own lands, though, is not a play that they love to make. Paladin class, it's kind of fine, honestly. It doesn't really affect us very much. And they say go, and we find Sorin. That is sweet. Okay. Let's start there. And I think we're just going to make a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. And I'm going to make another samurai off of the Wandering Emperor as well. Just make our board as big as possible. It gives us stuff to sacrifice to the necrotic fumes as well. They now have a hasty trampling land. And they scoop. Cool. Okay, so definitely a couple of misplays in that game on our part, but we saw what happens when that deck, when Naya Runes just fizzles out, when they don't have any creatures left. Okay. So Archon actually seems pretty reasonable against them, so they can't just chain off with runes. I think Doomscar feels pretty good. I think what we really want is just to mostly become black-white control against them. Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. We'll take the Power Word Kills. The Meat Hook Massacres seem good. We'll take out the Aspirants. I don't think this is the matchup for them, especially now that we've brought in some extra creatures. Is there anything else that isn't, like, the best? Kaito is a much more aggressive card, I think, than the other Planeswalkers are, and I don't think we're trying to be super aggressive here. I think we want to spend the early turns just killing their stuff. And in fact, maybe I just want to bring in the extra negate and take out the Kaito, because it's just so critical that we deal with their Showdown of the Skulls, and at the very least, negate on a rune is a 1-for-1. I think this is okay. Yeah. 3 Disdainful Strokes is an awful lot. But I think this is fine. I don't think I want anything else. Okay, so we're on the draw with a reasonable-ish hand. We don't have any creatures, but we do have the Wedding Announcement. We do have Loth, and those are both pretty important cards in the matchup, I think. Opponent has mulled to 6. Alright. Forest Visitor. That's pretty good. We'll get our Hive down. Opponent's having mana issues, which we are thrilled about. This would have been great to have on turn 1, of course. Shambling Ghast, a pretty good blocker against the Generous Visitor. This will be a 2/2, but now if they attack with it, then we can block profitably. Might scare them away. They choose not to do that. That makes a lot of sense. That Naturalist is going to be a real problem, unfortunately. So what we can do is we can Deadly Dispute, make a treasure, but then we won't have anything to sacrifice to the Rite of Oblivion, and I think the Naturalist must die, unfortunately. As much as that sucks. So let's start there. This is like the key part of their entire deck. So we'll make a treasure token and play this on blue, I suppose. And we do have Loth next turn. It's got... What do you think they have here? Like, any enchantment they would have played on pre-combat to, like, pump the Visitor, right? Any creature they probably also would have played, maybe. Maybe they're playing around Meat Hook Massacre. How do we best punish that? If they have Showdown... then I think I want Lolth in play so I can have an extra spider to pitch to the right of Oblivion. So let's do that. Let's get our second white down, and let's jam Lolth. I don't know what this could be.
Envy the strong, for they consume the weak.
I really don't know what this could be. Removal of some kind? Yeah, showdown, sure. Like, showdown might make some sense because they didn't want to play it on turn 4. That's pretty good. They can play land commune here. But they can't reasonably attack. We do have good double blocks. Oh, that's a really good draw, too. So let's start with a draw. Find just plain old Rite of Oblivion. That's not bad. So what do we want to do? We can Wedding Announcement. We can Shambling Ghast, Rite of Oblivion, Wedding Announcement. That seems pretty good. Yeah, I think I like that.
Aren't I jealous?
So that Rune of Might is going to let them trample through to Lolth, but I have a bunch of crap that I don't mind throwing in the way. And if they beef up one of these creatures, then we do have Rite of Oblivion to deal with it. So if we just answer enough of their stuff without dying, eventually they'll fizzle out like we saw in Game 1. Rune 4 Champion's a good one. If they have the Naturalist in hand as well, then this can get pretty nasty. So that is a 5/5 with trample. Currently that will trample through for 2, which is enough to kill Lolth. So Lolth is going to die. Yep, this is a pretty explosive draw out of them. We got, we were kind of damned if we did, damned if we didn't. Like, allowing them to keep Showdown here would have let them just go right off. And every one of these spells that they cast would have just pumped up their stuff on the board even more. So I don't think that there's a huge amount that we could have done differently here, which is kind of frustrating. I guess I want more black. So Runeforged Champion probably just needs to die, unfortunately. It's just too good. So we do that, and we hold up Deadly Dispute. Get another token off the Wedding Announcement. Probably should not have tapped the blue. Represent Disdainful Stroke. Yeah. That is really good. Yeah, their draw has been significantly better this game. Reminds me of playing against, like, auras in Historic. Just, like, if they draw the right half of the deck, there's just not a whole lot they can realistically do. Or that you can realistically do against it. You can try to remove the most important stuff that they have, but if they have replacements, they just draw way too much. But we can try to battle on. We have, we do have meat hooks in the deck. But eventually this Generous Visitor will outgrow even that. Okay. Are we just dead? We're probably pretty close. So there go the spiders. They're attacking us for 11. I think we probably need to find meat hook. So let's just block, throw away our 1/1. If we don't find it basically now, I think we're in serious trouble. Archon is not awful. So what to do? We can Vanishing Verse plus Archon. We can Rite of Oblivion plus Archon, but that forces us to crack our treasure. We can Vanishing Verse, Archon, hold up Dispute if they have an answer for the Archon. That seems reasonable. Okay, sure. Oh, Vanishing Verse doesn't hit the Naturalist? God, that sucks. Okay. Well, let's hit the 6/6 then. And we'll throw the Archon in. And hope that we're not dead. This is what the Archon is for. Shutting down the rune, you're dead draws. So we would love to keep the Archon alive if at all possible here. Have to imagine they attack with both. Probably considering powering up the lair, which would be aggressive, but probably correct. I don't see how I could, like, from their position, even if I didn't know the cards I had in hand, I can't imagine how I could punish them. But they're just saying go, or they're attacking. Let's block and cast Dispute. Wedding Announcement plus Wandering Emperor are probably the two best possible draws off the top. So Wedding Announcement will make a token, and the Wandering Emperor has Flash, so it doesn't get hit by Archon. Now, do we want to attack with our own Archon? I think the answer is no. Yeah, I think that's flying a little close to the sun when they have the creature land. And hopefully they just pump everything into the lair here. We can exile the exile the lair with the Wandering Emperor. We go up to 7. We block one of the 5/5s, and we go and we take 5. Keep the Archon in play still for as long as we possibly can. That does seem to be what's happening. Okay. So we can... We also have the option of, rather than exiling anything, we can make a 2/2. That's interesting. But we don't gain the life in that case. So we'd need to block 3 things, and the Archon would die, so I don't like that.
I am almost sad to see you go.
That's also really good. It's not actually not that great because their stuff has outgrown it. But it's better than nothing, I suppose. We're going to get another token to block that 5/5 on the ground. So we'll start... I guess we'll start with Rite of Oblivion, targeting... The Naturalist isn't so important, I guess, as long as the Archon is in play. The Wedding Announcement could get annoying. I don't know. This is tricky. Okay. I think we're taking the Visitor, actually, because it's the thing that grows. I'm going to pitch this treasure.
Strike fast and strike hard.
And they only have one thing they can attack with, and we're going to throw the token under the bus, right? So Maybe I'm just supposed to play this play this land so I can activate the Hive to block if I need to. Because we would be dead to removal. And this doesn't seem likely to actually hit anything anymore now that this is at a 5/5. And this Anthem is about to flip. Okay. Let's just keep the option to activate the Hive. Although, I mean, we are trying to win this race. Maybe I was supposed to hit the lifelinker. I was focused mostly on staying alive, but at the same time, like the 5/5 is gonna make racing them super challenging. I guess we have the ability to draw Meathook Massacre here to wipe their entire board. That would be pretty sweet. And with the plus from the Wandering Emperor first, we would get the Archon out of range. The Kami having Trample is scary. This is weird, right? Like, I actually kind of like double blocking. They could have their own thing. No, they play Kami. Yeah, they could have Iganjo. That is a possibility. Okay, this seems great for us. We find land, which seems less great. Okay, so we're gonna get another token, and both of these tokens will be 3/3s. The Kami will probably grow no more than to a 4/4. I think we're probably just... I think we're playing our land, in case we draw, like, Deadly Dispute or something. The question is, do we want to draw... Or do we want to make the Archon bigger, or do we want to start making extra tokens? I think I want an extra token. I don't think a bigger Archon makes that much of a difference. But I am going to start attacking with it. Yeah. And I'm going to play this land. Our stuff is pretty large. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah. That's, that's a card you can play, I guess, in Naya Runes. That's really bad for us. These wolves are gonna be, a nightmare. It's not nighttime, thankfully.
Run free.
Yeah, okay, untap, I guess. Drawing more lands is not ideal either. We are going to... We're kind of okay. Because our stuff lines up well with theirs. We can eat their wolves. Okay. Let's plus on... If we attack with the 4/4, they double block with the 3/3s. So that's not a great attack for us. I think I'd rather have an extra 4/4 to make their attacks into us a little worse.
I've got new moves to teach you.
And I'm going to attack Arlen with the flyer. And I guess they go. If they have another Arlen in hand now that it's night, then that feels terrible. But I don't think we could have done anything about that. Oh, come on. Okay. They can't play any of these this turn. But that, if they find one of the trample runes, I think we could be in trouble. We find Vanishing Verse. So whatever they target with the rune, we can Vanishing Verse in response. That's not awful. Okay. I think now we're probably... If they play the Naturalist, then I guess that sucks, because Vanishing Verse doesn't hit it. This 4/4 could get pumped if they play an enchantment next turn. We're probably supposed to just keep pumping this up so we have decent attacks on the ground.
Strike fast and strike hard.
And say go. God, this feels bad. Maybe I was supposed to minus the Wanderer there. I don't know. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense that they're targeting it with, that they're targeting the Trampler with this stuff. But this is nice because they've burned through all their spells for the turn. So these two pretty good cards are going to go away. And we just keep drawing land. I think I am just going to start making Samurai so we don't die. This showdown is still kind of scary. Are we at the point now where we can start attacking with our Hive? Probably. None of these can attack through any of our stuff yet. So I think these are trades I'm willing to make. Am I willing to trade this with one of the wolves? Probably. I think I actually am. I don't think it matters what we take here. I also don't feel like I'm playing this super well. I can't imagine that they'll make this trade, though. If they do, I think this is actually fine for us. I think we would like to make this board narrower. They're down to 12. Now that the Archon is in play, I think we will hold the lands, because I can't imagine us casting several spells in a turn. Which would be required to, like... This is fine. Man, Archon has put in serious work this game. Rune of Sustenance, that doesn't matter. They can't play it yet. And we find Sorin. That is really sweet. I think I'm down to plus on the Archon here to make it a 2-turn clock.
We've got the edge in this fight.
The Rune is going to come down, and they're going to get a big life linker, but we are pretty wide. I'm just going to make another flyer and say go.
You can deal with my servant. I'm busy.
Did we get there? Rune of Sustenance, if it's their only play, they get a 5/5 wolf, which they must attack with, and we got him. Oh my god, what a game that was. Archon putting in serious work for us there. Cool. 1-0 against a pretty good deck. On to the next one. Okay, we are on the play with a reasonably good opening hand. We do need to draw some lands and some spells. Really, the only thing that makes me think it's a good opening hand is that we have the turn 2 Aspirant. So that's good enough for me. Let's see what happens. Really, what's going to happen is I'm going to get mana screwed and complain about it. Please don't Fading Hope me. Okay. Step 1 down. Island, island. We found our land. That's pretty sweet. Go to combat. Swing. Do I want to play this on blue, or do I want to play it on black? Black means that we're able to cast Massacre, we're able to cast both. We have a lot of black pips in our hand. We'll feel bad if we draw exactly one of the counterspells or Kaito. I think it's supposed to be... I think it's supposed to be blue. I think if we're getting to the point where we cast Lolth, then that would mean... The only way we couldn't cast Lolth if we got to 5 mana was if we literally drew white, which I don't even think is possible given the land distribution in our deck. Covert Technician. When it deals combat damage, put an artifact from your hand onto the battlefield. Yeah, let's just cast our spells. We are tight on our mana. Sweet. Let's get in. For 4. We'll play our second Black Source now to be able to cast Lolth and Meathook Massacre. Field of Ruin, okay. Hermit. Are we supposed to Vanishing Verse that Hermit? We can't, if we draw land and we don't do that, then we can't cast Lolth, is the problem. But we could Meathook Massacre. If they have Negate. If they have Negate, I guess I want them to spend it. And then we can Meathook Massacre the Hermit after that. That's fine. So they sack the Hermit in response to keep it from getting exiled, which means if we draw untapped land, then we can cast Lolth, which we, of course, do not. But Hive is not a terrible draw, either, because the Aspirant is going to go up to 6. The Hive will get through for Menace next turn. I kind of like just... Yeah, we'll say go. If their turn is just... Yeah, something like this, right? If their plan is something like this, then we can just Meathook Massacre it away and then probably just kill them following that. Weird. So this triggers itself, I guess? No, because it's not an artifact spell. Sure. Feels like Eye Twitch plus Meathook Massacre here. Is there a sequence that doesn't make us shrink our Luminarch Aspirant? I don't think there is. Okay. And they're gonna go to 4. I think I want the Flyer to get the counter on it. Do I? Or do I want to get the extra point of damage in? This will be a 6/6 next turn. The Hive, if I get them to... Yeah, if I get them to 3, then the Hive gets in with Menace. So I think that's even better. Also, there's some chance that we'll just be able to kill them with our Meathook Massacre. Yeah, sure. This is fine. Opponent did not seem to have their best draw. Although this was... I don't know. We're off the map here with them. What do you think they're playing? Like blue-white vehicles? They could have like Tezzeret plus Blackstaff, I guess. That's something they could have. Clearly they're pretty creature dependent. Maybe on the draw, I'm kind of okay with just turning into Esper Control. Maybe? I don't know. I feel like I didn't see enough. I feel like I didn't see enough out of them to make a good call. I do see a lot of X1s, which makes me really happy with Meathook Massacre coming in. You assume they'll board some of them out, but who knows? Yeah, I think I want to be Esper Control here. Whatever they're doing, it involves creatures and attacking me, and I think that that makes our control game plan significantly better. So I think that means we take out Kaito, bring in the power word kills. Negate probably can't be too bad. We need 3 more cards. Archon is like mopey, right? Probably do want the negate. Although it feels kind of bad against their Malevolent Hermits. Probably Go Blank is good against those, though. Okay, we'll try this. Okay, we're here on the draw with Shambling Gas and Deadly Dispute. We are definitely going to keep that. One plays Island. That is fine with me. Shambling Gas is also quite good against any X1s they might play. Like that, though it does have Ward 1. So not as good as it looks. You think they'll trade if I attack with it? I would think not. Because I think they want to grow this thing. But maybe that's a good reason to keep the Shambling Gas back. And it threatens to block, and we can pay the ward cost if we just play untap land and say go here. Cool. Alright, yeah, let's do that. No attacks. We can probably... we're the control player here. That was the decision we made in sideboarding. Silver Raven. Okay. Scry to the top. I think I do want to block and sack here. I don't think I want to kill the automaton here. I think I want the treasure, and I want to be able to dig for like my planeswalkers or something. Vanishing Verse, awkward against the artifact. Another Deadly Dispute, alright. Yeah. Go blank, not so great early on either. Maybe we are supposed to just Deadly Dispute away one of these treasures. Yeah, tough. We can do it main phase, I guess. And, see if we hit, like, Rite of Oblivion. But there's no... And they missed land, so there's no reason to hold up, Disdainful Stroke. Alright, let's do this. We can do this while they're not, while they're tapped out. Yeah, okay. I was kind of hoping to find a playable. Having to discard to hand size there does suck. It's kind of weird, right? They topped with their, They topped with a Raven and missed land. Reality Chip, what does that do? You can play lands and cast spells as long as it's attached. Sure. That seems like an important part of their game plan. If I find Lolth, will I be sad? Probably not, right? But I think I want them to invest the mana in equipping it first. All right. And I don't want to spend a treasure on Vanishing Verse if I don't have to. And we find yet more land. Great, great. So let's start with a go blank, I guess, because we've got to do something. What was that? Invoke the Winds. Gain control of target artifact or creature. Alright. Not sure what that was for. Moon Snare Prototype? Sure. Ideally, they'll equip the Raven. No. Okay. So let's just get this while we can. Take 5. And hopefully we can find a kill spell for this thing? Yes, we can. Excellent. Barely, but we can. Gain 2 as well, that's pretty welcome. That's also really good against us. Yeah. So we can Deadly Dispute the Eye Twitch now. What would we get out of our sideboard? Teachings doesn't seem great. Nothing I think I'd want to cast this turn. We could draw, like, something playable off of it, though. Only 3 mana, though? What would we draw for 3 mana or less that we would want to play? Wedding Announcement. Which is, like, fairly likely to happen, actually. We're, like, almost 20% to do it. Probably more like 15. No. I think I'd like to be able to block the 4/4 with the Eye Twitch and get the value that way. Seems likely they'll have some sort of creature here. And if they don't, then I think we're okay anyway. That's a pretty good one. Now are we cracking this Eye Twitch? Still, I think now that we have the option to, like, cast Mascot Exhibition next turn, I think that makes this better. How many cards do they have in hand? They have 1. So we're not going to be casting Teachings anytime soon. Yeah, it's just Mascot here, right? And we would have drawn the Wedding Announcement last turn. Sweet, sweet. Yeah, okay. Double Wedding Announcement is, with holding up Vanishing Verse, I think is better than Mascot Exhibition. And soon our mascots are going to be Swole. That does not yet crew the vehicle. Are we just Vanishing Versing that chip now? It doesn't do anything yet. But doing that now lets us cast the Mascot Exhibition and just getting, like, giant creatures that much sooner. Yeah, okay. I don't love it. But I think I like being aggressive here. Scar, yeah. I don't think we're going to be Doomscarring anytime soon. We could attack here and draw. But I don't think so. Weird sequencing there to play the land first. And doesn't matter, we got there. Okay, so up against like a weird blue, mono-blue artifacts list. Feels like a pretty good matchup for us, honestly. As long as our removal lines up, which it didn't. We had some issues with Vanishing Verse not hitting artifacts, but still, at the end of the day, feels pretty good for us. On to the next one. Okay, on the draw with pretty good opening hand. Eye Twitch into Kaito is pretty reasonable. Up against Cave of the Frost Dragon, so some aggressive white deck. Definitely an aggressive white deck. I think we just kill that while we can. It comes at some cost. It means that we won't be able to get the Hive down untapped. It means we have to give up the Eye Twitch right now to do it. It means that the right won't be available to deal with some future threat easily, but I think we have to do this. So we'll get our point of damage in. And sack the Eye Twitch, and I'm not sure what to get here, realistically. Probably Fumes? Fumes seems okay. Pest Summoning also seems pretty good against their X1s. I think it's Fumes or Summoning, and I think Summoning is just a little tiny bit better on average. Adeline. Yeah, okay. That's not bad either, realistically. So we can Kaito, or we can Aspirant plus Eye Twitch. I think I like Aspirant plus Eye Twitch with the intention of Rite of Oblivion the following turn, sacking the Eye Twitch. Since we want to sacrifice the Eye Twitch, I'm not going to put the counter on it, even though they're more likely to want to kill the Aspirant. Hopeful Initiate is okay. Thalia is strong. awkward. So we can play the tap land and guarantee that we'll be able to cast Rite of Oblivion next turn. Or we can play a Wedding Announcement, or we can play a Pest Summoning. Tricky. I think it's clearly either Wedding Announcement or Pest Summoning, and I don't think I'm into playing the tap land here. I think it does have to be one of our 4-drops. Pest Summoning gives us more fuel for Rite of Oblivion next turn, so if we have to block with multiple creatures, then we have one more next turn to sacrifice to the right, but getting the Wedding Announcement to flip a little bit sooner, I think, is a little bit more important. We'll put up the, bump the Luminarch Aspirant up to 3 so that it can block the Thalia profitably. It also kills a trained Initiate as well. Redain. I'm not sure how that interaction works. I feel like it does tax the Rite of Oblivion here, which is kind of annoying. So now it will cost 4... So how does this work? Non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. And this is spells with mana value 4 or greater. So this mana value is still 2. So I think it still does just cost 5. Yeah. The Eye Twitch will be able to block something bigger next turn. Yeah, I think these blocks are okay. Maybe we were supposed to eat Thalia there instead of the Initiate, but I didn't want that growing to a point where we couldn't easily block it. Of course, we draw the 3rd Hive of the Eye Tyrant here, which is not ideal. Kaito still doesn't really achieve much. It makes a 1/1, I guess, but I think I'd rather have 2. And we will not attack. We got a bunch of crap. Rite of Oblivion next turn will come online to deal with that line, and hopefully we can just go from there. Hopeful Initiate is just kind of whatever. This matchup does feel like it ought to be good for us, as long as we draw the correct side of the deck. Alright, so Thalia's there again. Now I think we're fine doing that. This all seems pretty reasonable. We'll take 2. Most things die. Rite of Oblivion will be able to sacrifice the Eye Twitch to kill the Adeline next turn. I suppose we can just take 1 here, sacrifice the 1/1 to the Rite of Oblivion, and keep the Eye Twitch back to block the Redain, which is their biggest threat left on the board after that. And instead we're taking 3 down to 10. I think this is okay. Okay, sure. Deadly Dispute. Yeah, okay. Thalia, I think we've reached the point that we can play around her. I think Adeline is the only real threat. Let's pitch the 1/1 token. Get our extra tap land into play. This is going to flip. The Eye Twitch will be a 3/3, so it'll block Redain. And we'll just say go. They could have another Adeline. That's probably what they need. Paladin class might be effective too. Is this another Valorous stance? There's no reason not to block here. If they kill the Eye Twitch, then that's probably actively good for us. Wandering Emperor does kill the Eye Twitch. They can pump the Redain. Okay, Wandering Emperor is a pretty good last card for them to have, all things considered. Probably Necrotic Fumes to deal with that. More land. Okay, so we have 7 mana. That'll let us dispute and use necrotic fumes. Not enough to Kaito plus necrotic fumes, but I think that's fine. Redain is going to, like, be an issue, but I don't think we have much of a choice here. Alright, so let's, exile the Wanderer, pitch the 2/2, because I don't want to exile the Pest. I want to gain the life off of that when it dies.
Time, then.
And say go. They've shown us Valorous stance. I don't think it matters much where we put the counter. We are going to sacrifice this 3/3, almost certainly. We do need, like, reasonably good draws off of this. So we're taking 6 in the air. We do need reasonably good draws. I don't think there's any reason to Deadly Dispute now. And I think I will sack this 3/3 now, because we do need to just draw the cards. Yeah, I mean, those aren't really great. We're going to take 6 in the air. I think we're probably just dead, unfortunately. Yeah, the draws were just not good enough. We can start with Kaito, see if we can find a kill spell, or like a Meat Hook Massacre or something.
The system can't fix everything, but we can. Thanks.
That's
I'll be
good.
taking that now.
Yeah, that'll kill one of the, that'll kill the cave. I'll kill the cave. We can block one thing on the ground. We're going to take 5. Don't love it. We're taking 4 here down to 2. We basically need Meat Hook, and just cannot do it. Eye Twitch. Does Eye Twitch keep us alive? Blocks their flyer. We get another token from the wedding announcement on the ground. Alright, we're grinding. Eye Twitch, when it dies, can grab us, Mascot Exhibition, which gets us another flyer. Yeah, playing the Spellbinder is okay. In fact, we actively want them to do that because one of our outs is Meat Hook Massacre. So the more stuff they put onto the board, probably the better. This block is forced. What do we want to learn? I think it's got to be, well, Mascot Exhibition puts beef on the board. They have 2 flyers, though, and we're only going to get 1 flyer off of it. So we really just must find Meat Hook Massacre. With that in mind, maybe we're supposed to get Teachings of the Archaics. Also, Environmental Sciences gains life, puts us up to 4. It's not like the most appealing thing in the world, but their flyers are attacking for 3. I think I like Teachings. We just need to draw out of this mess. And we just keep finding land. Yeah, pretty sure we're dead. Let's try this. Meat Hook Massacre? Land. Okay. Kind of an embarrassing run out for that game there. We just could not find any of our main tools in the matchup. We got halfway into the deck and didn't find any any Meathook Massacres. But luckily, against something like Mono-White, the sideboard plan seems clear. We'll take out the aggressive stuff, bring in the control-y stuff. Negate doesn't seem great. But Archon is like actually not actively bad. Go Blank seems terrible. Is there anything else in the deck that isn't very good? Archon might just be better than Kaito. I don't feel like Kaito's very good in against the creature matchups. So maybe I'm supposed to bring in the Archons and cut 2 of him. We didn't see any, like... We didn't really see much in the way of non-creature spells. Valorous Stance, I don't think, is a good enough reason to bring in Negate on its own. Go Blank doesn't affect the board, so I don't love it. Yeah, this is probably what it's supposed to be. We need to bring in one more thing. Honestly, Kaito is probably just a 3-mana 1/1. Yeah, I think I would rather have just the 2 aspirants. This is probably what we're supposed to do. Alright. On the play with some removal spells and a Deadly Dispute. Vanishing Verse just obviously nutty in the matchup. I don't think I can throw this one back, even though it doesn't have a creature. We'll try to draw into that. Hopeful Initiate is just kind of whatever. I hope they don't play like Thalia or something. That would be really annoying. Why do I talk? I don't think we're Vanishing Versing this Initiate. I think I'm just going to cast the Vanishing Verse on Thalia. That's not bad. It slows them down significantly. It blocks the Hopeful Initiate if it attacks. Blocks the Thalia. Yeah, I kind of like it. Dodge's Vanishing Verse doesn't have enough toughness for that. Irritating, but like actually not terrible because we have the double Vanishing Verse. Maybe they take Stroke. Yeah, and honestly, the Stroke should have come out. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, they just throw the Thalia away. So it's like that's a pretty strong indication that they've got another one in hand, right? We have the line I Twitch into Dispute into Vanishing Verse, although we don't, right? Because we have the Archon in play. So it's probably supposed to be I Twitch as a blocker for Apollo. And if they play a 4-drop, then we can disdainfully stroke it. I should have boarded these out. I don't know why I left these in. Kaito would have been better than these. Let's see. If we kill Paulo now, then they don't get to pump the Initiate, which is kind of nice. But attacking with Paulo feels really aggressive. They're doing it. Alright. I think I'm thrilled to do this rather than sack it to the Deadly Dispute. We'll take 3. It does die to Vanishing Verse. I think we will just... yeah. I guess if the plan was to Vanishing Verse the Hopeful Initiate on their end step, then I should have just done it. But if they play something bigger, then I'll want to kill that instead. Probably just hit my land drops, right? Nothing too fancy. We're a ways off from casting Mascot Exhibition. Teachings isn't so important when we have the Archon in play. Yeah, let's just take this. There's Adeline. The post-combat Adeline. And we're just going to Vanishing Verse that on the spot. don't... Am I going to want a Vanishing Verse something? Probably, honestly. And if I Environmental Sciences now, then I can't do that. How close are they to powering this up? Honestly, like, the Archon's time might have come. Maybe I'm supposed to just sacrifice it. I don't know. I hate it. We play this, they attack us, and then say go. What have we accomplished this turn? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to say go, because how bad could it really be? They get to cast one thing this turn and we get to kill it. But, I'm not in love with it. That's a really good one. That's really annoying. That's a good mana sink for them to play around the Archon. But the Archon does block it. Alright. Not the worst. I probably want them to commit a little more to the board before I do that, right? So let's do this. Let's, Environmental Sciences, get our land. If they power up the cave, then we can block with the Archon and sacrifice it. Should have gotten black. Should have gotten black. They are attacking with the Usher, so probably Valorous stance is my guess. That's kind of fine. We found both Meat Hook Massacres that we couldn't find last game. Let's just hope it's not too little too late. They play another Usher of the Fallen straight into it. We love it. We love it. Yeah, let's just do this. That cave is going to start beating us down relatively quickly, but we have the Meat Hook Massacre to gain life. Our deck, you know, we have to have some faith that our deck will eventually draw something reasonably good. And we are kind of outracing them with the Hive. Wow. Okay.
Anyone who harms my
Yep.
people must
That's a good one.
May your blade strike true.
So probably have to power up the Hive here to attack down the Wanderer. And I don't think it particularly matters what we exile here. Could have considered attacking with the 1/1, I guess, to be able to draw, but actually kind of like having the extra 1/1s to be able to double block the Samurai. If they have another Wanderer, then keeping the Disdainful Stroke up has value as well. But I think this cave is just going to start getting in. No, they just say go. Okay. This feels great. Now we draw the power word kill. Okay, that's outstanding for us. We'll play the Aspirant. And I think we're just going to pump the Aspirant to get up over our own Meat Hook Massacre. And say go. Actually, shit. This targets dragons. Is this a dragon? It is a dragon. Damn it. Okay. So back to the drawing board on that. But we are attacking for an awful, awful lot next turn. This isn't an angel, right? Yeah, it's just a god. Puny god. They're disdainful stroke. Yeah. Yeah, I should not have left those in. But yeah, we are going all out. I'm just going to keep pumping this hive. Yeah, obviously with the Meathook Massacre in play, trades are very good for us, so the more we can trade off the board, the better. And we got there. Nice. Yeah, so that's kind of how we want this matchup to go. Drawing Meathook Massacres against Mono-White, significantly better than not drawing Meathook Massacres against Mono-White. Alright, so we'll take out the Disdainful Strokes, I guess. I think I probably do want both Aspirants, just because Kaito does just seem really, really mopey. Yeah, I think I'd rather just fight them on the board, and I guess Negate is marginally better than Stroke. Is it? The only 4-drop we saw was Wandering Emperor, and Negate, I guess, also hits the Valorous stances that we saw, but probably got boarded out. But nevertheless, actually, you know what? I think Negate is probably a little worse than Kaito. A little? Yeah, okay. And we know that they're going to be playing around counter magic now that they saw we left it in for game 2. Okay. Doomscar and Shambling Ghast, pretty good. Pretty good. So we can foretell the Doomscar on 2 to get it around the follow that they always have. We have drawn a lot of lands so far here. Adeline is going to get Doomscarred at the first opportunity. Probably won't attack here, though. That's great, I think, for us. Let's get our blue mana in play. And say go. Sure. So Paulo's gonna resolve. I think I do want to Deadly Dispute here. We'll sack this. And I think we're disputing... Or we're killing... What are we killing? It's either Thalia or Paulo. We kill Thalia, they might have another one in hand. All of this is going to die to Doomscar anyway. We take 2 damage this turn if we kill Paulo. Oh, they get an extra 1/1 off of Adeline if we decide we want to sandbag. Yeah, whenever you attack for each opponent. Yeah, Adeline is going to get the token anyway. Alright. I'll kill Paulo. I don't think I want to cast Doomscar next turn. Wow, that is a lot of land. I think we can probably get a little more out of our Doomscar. Maybe. Maybe that's a little greedy. They don't have to. Like, they can just say go, and this is just an obscene amount of land to draw. At this point, we probably are just supposed to Doomscar the board. Yeah, I hate it, but... Like, they can just attack and say go next turn, and we can't make any progress, so I think we do have to do this. And if that was the case, then I should have killed Thalia last turn. Taken 2 points of damage less. And hopefully we can find Meathook Massacre here. Luminarch Aspirant, I guess, is not awful. This feels like Valorous Stance. What else could it be? We have the ability to to cast Deadly Dispute, cracking our Luminarch Aspirant, which we probably do want to do just to find our board wipe. We'll see. If it stuffs their attack... I see. Okay. Yeah, this makes sense. But we have so little action that I do think I want to sack this aspirant here. There's Valorous Stance. Sure. Maybe, like, I'm supposed to hold off. Oh my god. Even more land. Yeah, okay. And I get to boast here, too. Jeez. Power word kill again doesn't kill this land. I doubt this last card is Valorous Stance, so I think I'm okay letting them untap. It might stuff their Usher, although I kind of doubt it. Wow, they play the Aganjo here? That's terrifying. It's true. That's really terrifying. Alright. I think they have, another Aganjo in hand. That's what makes the most sense to me. Otherwise, you would never play that there, right? They do have the other Valorous Stance, Jesus. Okay, so we'll take 4, they get to boast. If I Mihawk Massacre, we could still be okay. How's another land? How do you like that? Is that better? Are we dead on board? We're taking 2, 4, 5, 8. We have to block. We do this. It takes 7. How much are we meat hooking for next turn? We can meat hook for 4, so that we can kill this if we draw it. Okay. I can't imagine anything other than meat hook that saves us here. Maybe? Does that do it? We go up to 3, exile the cave, block the initiate, take 1, or the training trigger will happen, unfortunately. Oh no, it won't, because this. Okay, I think that does keep us alive if they have nothing. Let's see what they do. We're dead to an awful lot here. They do have to assume that we have like a kill spell here, right? Yeah, so this is probably correct. They might have their own Wanderer as well.
I'm not overconfident. You're just underwhelming.
So we can make a samurai. And eat both of their creatures. If they have a Wanderer of their own, then that's a blowout, right? Like, the safest thing to do here is Wanderer minus on the initiate, and then eat the 1/1, and then make a samurai the following turn. I think that's probably better. They have, like, Sajiri Shelter or something? Another copy of Valorous Stance possible?
This is what you get for hurting my people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Again, I think we need Meat Hook. Another Wanderer might keep us alive another turn. Eye Twitch, I guess, also kind of, maybe, sort of does it. Blocks the flyer. We can make a blocker on the ground. I think we do have to throw away the Wanderer, right? If we plus... We have 2 blockers for 3 attackers. We can take 2 off of Thalia. We go to 1. Wandering Emperor will then be able to throw itself away for life next turn. If they get Coven, then they can attack through some of our stuff. Tricky, tricky. I think I just like getting the samurai, honestly.
Our swords will cross again. We must protect the people.
So we'll throw the eye twitch away. That will let us fetch Mascot Exhibition and get another blocker. The other thing is that we've drawn so many lands that even if we fetch Teachings of the Archaics, like we won't be able to cast. We won't be able to cast it for value. We are dead to... we're not dead to removal, because then they won't be able to power up the cave. Feels like if this mono-white matchup gets more popular, then we should probably have more on the board to respect it. Like, being forced to play Luminarch Aspirant, just because we have nothing else in the sideboard, kind of sucks. Yeah, this attack makes sense. It's the only attack that makes sense. We are kind of stuffing most of their board. And I think it does have to be Mascot Exhibition, right? Because we need something to block the flyer next turn. I suppose Environmental Sciences gains life, but I'm not even sure we have basics left in the deck. There you go. Okay, so... play our land. If we Meathook Massacre for X equals 2, then that will cost us 5 mana. We have 11. That leaves us 6. Mascot Exhibition will start costing... it will start costing 7, which means we can't do it all this turn. Meathook Massacre will kill 2 of their things. It'll put us up to 5. Means we live through the cave, which is appealing because it means we won't have to play Meathook Massacre to kill all of our stuff from the Mascot Exhibition. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. I'll just attack. I don't think there's anything hasty in the deck, right? So I think we can pretty safely attack with the Aspirant. At some point, they will be able to double activate the cave. Crawling Barrens is a tough one. Yeah, they are drawing well. Finally. There we go. That's a great draw. Yeah, let's start pumping up the flyer so that it will eventually be able to block this. We'll attack with the 2 ground creatures. Sequencing is a little off here, of course. Should have done all of that. Should have done all of, like, casting the Mascot Exhibition post-combat. No, I guess I couldn't have, because I wanted to pump the flyer with the Luminarch Aspirant. So we will Vanishing Verse if they, assuming this is a blank. They power up the cave, we Vanishing Verse it. And then on a future street, this will be a 4/3, which will be able to trade with the other one, and we got there. Sweet. That felt really, really bad at various points. It feels like the matchup should be really good. The black-white matchup against mono-white is outstanding, but yeah, I mean, just like the extra stuff that we brought in to make Esper mid-range, like to make the deck Esper, didn't line up at all well with mono-white. So yeah, okay, cool. 3-0, not a bad day in the arena. I will see you guys in the next one. Later.